If this is your first or second time here, hope you enjoyed the video. If this is your third time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on when I post. When Fallout 3 first came out, I first played the game not too long after. I remember coming across the flags in-game and thinking, well, that's not the normal flag that I remember seeing, you know, that's not the normal 50-star flag. And while they do have some of them in some of the Fallout games, I always figured that the 13-star flag was just like a tricentennial thing that was put up for celebration for the United States' 300th birthday or whatever. Never really looked into it too much until recently, so I'm going to share with you what I found and how wrong I was with why the flag has 13 stars. Now, as I mentioned, I thought this flag was a flag of 13 states. You know, the original 13 colonies made into states. Figured, hey, you know, maybe they're just trying to harken back to that tradition in the United States. Hell, where I live, I still see this flag from time to time flying. Usually along farms and off the highways and whatnot. So I didn't really think much when I first saw the 13 stars on the Fallout flag. That was until I first went into the museum of, let me look up the name of it here. Just looked it up here, the Museum of Technology in DC. One was playing and I looked at the lunar lander that was on display there. I noticed something strange, that the lunar lander, which landed on the moon in 1969, also had the US flag on it with 13 stars, which meant that the 13-star flag was being used even at that point in time. But there is flags with 50 stars on them. I was like, okay, well that's really weird. Maybe I should look into this. So I started looking into it a little more. And I realized it's tied more to how the world deviated after World War II for the Fallout universe. Now, I was partially correct that it was meant to harken back to the 13 original colonies, to pull inspiration from them, and even, in a way, be a direct continuation of that system. Now, if you don't know, because you're from outside of the United States, the United States of America has had many flags over the years. From the Gadsden flag to the Betsy Ross flag. The Betsy Ross flag is the one we're talking about. The different colonial flags flown throughout the United States. There was also the flags of the Confederate States of America, which those were the flags flown by the South during the Civil War, and many, many other flags. Hell, we have state flags nowadays. Some counties have flags. We have probably more flags flown in the United States for the country, the states, local municipalities, local principalities, counties, and the like than probably the rest of the world combined at this point. Now, to understand all of this a little better, I think I should go over the main flags that the United States has used up until, let's say, 1965. That way you can get a good picture on what the US flags looked like and why going back to the 13 stars would be strange, even nowadays in our world. So we'll start off with a flag that most likely some Americans don't even know about, because God knows our public schooling isn't the best anymore. And it's the flag of the Sons of Liberty. Now, the Sons of Liberty were a group in, well, the United States before the United States. They were a loose organization, sometimes violent, mind you, political organization that was in the United States before the United States became the United States, back when we were still the colonies. They were pretty much the precursors to the revolution. They were pretty much the guys that, you know, stoked the fires, as it were. They fought for the rights of the colonies and against taxation from Britain and all of that, right? Not going to get too into the history of the United States here. Their flag and the flag they used were just vertical. I hate those two words. Vertical stripes that were alternating red and white. Now, these stripes are what inspired the red and white horizontal stripes on the United States flag. Now, from that, we can jump ahead some to the Betsy Ross flag of the United States. I say some, like a decade to a year, dependent. The story goes that Washington, President George Washington, at that point, the commander-in-chief of the Continental Armies, he went to an upholsterer and seamstress in Philadelphia by the name of Betsy Ross and commissioned her to design and make a flag for the United States. It said she pulled information from, you know, the Sons of Liberty to go with the stripes, and then a blue field of which there would be 13 stars representing the unity of the 13 colonies into a country of its own. Some say the story happened, others say the story didn't happen. All I know is it's a pretty good story, you know? Now, I'm focusing on the stripes quite a bit. You'd figure the stars would be the center of the show here. The reality of it is, to the people of the time, the stripes meant more because, again, the Sons of Liberty were already around for over a decade at this point. So they'd have known the stripes better. They were also known as just the rebellious stripes, you know. Pull something that's pre-existing, put it on something new to show that it's legitimate. This is the continuation of what came before, right? That's where the stripes came from. That's why every U.S. flag has stripes. Cool, moving on to the stars now. Again, the 13 original colonies had stars in a circle on a blue field. That's the original flag of the United States, okay? Now that flag lasted for, I'm gonna have to say, a little over a century. Let me look. My mistake. It was replaced in 1795. 1795 brought about the first modern-looking flag of the United States. Now, this flag is different in a few ways. The first thing is that it had more stripes and it had more stars. It had 15 stripes up from 13 and 15 stars up from 13. These new stripes and stars were to represent Vermont and Kentucky that were brought in as states at this point in time. The biggest thing that this flag is known for is having a unique name among all of the U.S. flags. Like the Betsy Ross flag, sometimes known as the colonial flag. That's the one with the 13 stars, everyone knows that. After that, it's, for the most part, just referred to as either Old Glory or just the flag of the United States. Well, this flag here, with 15 stripes and 15 stars, has a unique name, and it started quite a few traditions here in the United States unto itself. Its name is the Star-Spangled Banner. This is what our national anthem is named after here in the United States. It also, if memory serves me correctly, is why we place United States flags on the caskets of fallen soldiers. Back in the day, they used to cut parts off of this flag to bury with the people that died during the battles. That was stopped, and you can't have people cutting away the entirety of the flag. But that's why we still adorn caskets with the flag to this day. This flag stayed the flag of the United States for a little while, till I do believe the Second Flag Act. Now, the Star-Spangled Banner stayed our country's flag until 1818. That's when we started bringing in more and more states. I think we almost doubled in size that year, from 15 to 20, 26 states at that point. So the government figured, okay, we can't be adding a star and a stripe for every state that's added in. It'd make the flag too cluttered. So they decided, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll drop back down to 13 stripes. That way the 13 original colonies are always present on the flag. But we will add a star for every new state that's brought into the United States. That finished the standard that we have to this day. Every time we bring in a new state, we add a new star to the flag. That's just how it goes now and how it has gone since 1818, give or take. So from then on, every time a state was added, we'd add another star, right? In 1836, we had 25 stars, then 26 stars. In 1845, we had 27 stars. In we added, let's see here, 1846, we had 29, 1848, 30, 1867, 37, 1869, 45, 1959, 49, 1960, 50, and we've had 50 states since then. We have a couple territories that, like Puerto Rico, which is, territories are weird in this day and age because they get quite a few benefits, because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. They're U.S. citizens, everything's good with them, U.S.-wise. They get the right to vote, everything like that. They don't really get any of the hindrances of being a state, though, so it's up in the air on whether the United States government doesn't want them to be a state or if Puerto Rico's government doesn't want them to be a state. Any which way, Puerto Rico could become the 51st state of the United States, in which case we'd change the flag again, right? Now, this is pretty much where history divides for Fallout and real time, I guess. Well, it's not the first place. I'll go into a whole video on that, where and when things changed. But for right now, for the flag, this is where we split, okay? In our world, we still have the same flag. We've had the same flag since we got Hawaii. That's how it goes. In the Fallout universe, after World War II, didn't create create the microprocessor, microchip, whatever you want to call it. So they kind of stagnated in some areas of technology whilst advancing others significantly far beyond what we even have in this day and age. And one of the things they did was in 1969, before the moon missions or anything like that, the United States of America reconsolidated into 13 commonwealths. I hate saying that word, too many S's in it. The Commonwealth system is what they reorganized into, and it, as the name entails, reorganized the United States into 13 commonwealths. Those commonwealths are as follows, if the information I found is correct. Columbia, East Central, Eastern, 4 states, Gulf, Midwest, New England, North, Northwest, Plains, Southeast, Southwest, and Texas. Now you may be thinking, especially if you played Fallout 4, that the Boston Commonwealth is the Boston Commonwealth. There's multiple commonwealths throughout the United States, even as we sit here and talk. And there are different levels of commonwealth, right? For instance, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, right? We already know about that one from Fallout itself. It doesn't make it its own regional commonwealth, though, right? There are smaller commonwealths throughout the United States as well, from being bigger than cities to like the size of counties and whatnot. It's just it's a term used because people like to use different terms to be special for things. Anyway, there are multiple commonwealths, and then there are regional commonwealths, which are what we're talking about. Those 13 regional commonwealths are the 13 stars on the flag of the Fallout United States, right? It's 12 normal stars around one larger central star that represents unity. And this is the flag they had and used up until, I'd have to say, 1765, 66, to whenever the Resource War ended. Right. Now, there were multiple wars in the Fallout universe that we don't really know much about, such as the fight on the moon that just kind of always glossed over. But the Resource War is what led to the Great War, and I confuse those two all the time. The Great War is the war that nuked the world. The Resource War was the war that led up to the nuking of the world, right? Petroleum reserves started to run dry across the world, so countries started fighting over the reserves that were left. This led to China invading Alaska and taking Alaska for the oil reserves there, and that kicked off the whole thing, if memory serves me correctly. In the process of all of this, the United States, being the United States, annexed Canada, because why wouldn't we? Give us a great staging area to be able to fight into Alaska from there, and it would also make sure that they couldn't ally themselves with anyone else that wanted to take out the United States. The video of the dude in power armor shooting some tied-up guy in the street, that's from annexed Canada, well, the annexation of Canada. And people that worked on the Fallout games, especially Fallout 4, said that the guy shooting the other guy is Nate, the protagonist, the male protagonist you play as in Fallout 4, which is, that's just fucking weird. Any which way, the United States annexed Canada. Canada became a territory of the United States. After the Resource War ended, and there was peace for a while, whilst everyone regrouped unto themselves to become, well, to lick their wounds, pretty much. The United States decided, hey, we have Canada. We're not going to turn it into a state because it's too big. We need to split it up into multiple states, and we just don't want to deal with that right now. We have other shit going on. So what we're going to do, that's going to make the Canadians feel better, because now they're Americans, and it's going to make the Americans feel better, is we're gonna have a show of power and unity. So what they did was they made another flag, and this flag can be found a few places. I do believe the first instance of this flag being found is in Lonesome Road, of all places, and it's the flag with 14 stars. Now this is up from the 13 stars that we had before, which were 12 stars in a circle with one central star, making 13. Now it's 13 stars in a circle with one central star, making 14. This flag was made to show that Canada was now part of the United States. It was meant to show that Canadians were welcomed in as United States citizens, you know, no hard feelings, that sort of thing. And it was meant to show the citizens of the United States that, hey, we won something. Look, you can just look at your flag and see that we won something. We did good. It wasn't all for nothing, right? And that is pretty much where the flag sits at this point in the Fallout universe. You'll still see 50-star flags floating around because it was in use for like a decade before they changed over to the Commonwealth system. You'll see the 13-star flags floating around quite a bit, and you'll see less often the 14 stars that were being used, which shows that they were just switching over to the 14-star flag, which is an interesting thing to look at when it comes to the history of Fallout here. But if you ever wondered why the United States flag in Fallout had, 13 stars or 14 stars, why it looked different from our flag, now you know, and so do I. And this research in this video here made me look into a bunch of different histories of Fallout. So I'm probably going to do a video on the entire history of the Fallout world and how it deviated from ours, along with the history of the Brotherhood of Steel, because I think that'd be neat. Anyway, I'm going to head on out. Hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.